Hi, Dave Spalding from Handgun Combatives. It's been quite a while since we've come at you with a new video, and the reason being is I just didn't want to. Quite frankly, folks, as I look through the stuff online, I see so much buffoonery that I'm concerned that I'm going to be part of it, and I think that's a legitimate concern. By the same token, however, as my marketing son-in-law Darren, who's behind the camera, continues to inform me that I need to continue to market the business, or at least for as long as it exists. So here we are. What I want to talk to you today is a drill I call the orange dot drill. And for the obvious reason is it uses an orange dot as a target. Now, could it be a green dot drill, a red dot drill, a black? Sure, it could be whatever. But I use a series of stick-on orange dots that I buy from that marvelous target company called Amazon, because I get a roll about this big for a few bucks and they work out very, very well. Where did the orange dot drill come from? Well, it came from the class that Bucky Buchanan and I developed for the combative use of mini red dot sights. As some of you realize, when we developed our program, instead of just watching what other people are doing and kind of copy it and change it a little bit to call it our own, we actually started from scratch. We went out, we bought a bunch of the popular mini red dot sights. We shot through a number of drills and methods and stuff that we knew were applicable to the combative application of the handgun. And we did that over several days, and then we developed our own doctrine on how to teach this method. We then looked at what was online and what other instructors were doing, and quite frankly, very little changed of what we, the two of us, came up with originally. So we felt like we were on the right track. One of the things that we identified was not that the red dot sight was difficult to use. It really isn't, especially at distance. At distance, it's easy. What we identified was that consistent presentation of the system at extreme close distances very, very quickly was the difficult thing. And the reason for that was because you've got a finite amount of space in order to put that red dot in this window. So that presentation, whether it's from a ready position or from a holster, has to be precise. You have to place the gun on the target consistently every time. And we developed biomechanical methods to make sure that happens each and every time. Now you're probably wondering, well, what are those? I'm not going to tell you. You've got to take the class, all right? But as part of that effort to make sure we can get the gun on target each and every time, we came up with the orange dot drill. What is the orange dot drill? Well, we're going to draw the gun from the holster. And on target, you're going to see an orange dot. And what we want the students to do is ask themselves several questions. First of all, did the the red dot in your pistol sight arrive on the orange dot? If it didn't, why didn't it? I mean, think about this in a gunfight. The best combative draw that you can have is the one that arrives where you need it. So the gun's got to come up, it's got to go out, it's got to arrive on the orange dot. Then, once you're on the orange dot, you've got to fire that shot that will go through that orange dot. The round needs to go where your sights are pointed, right? If it didn't, why not? Probably something to do with your hand, late grip effect. When you were trying to depress the trigger straight to the rear, the rest of your hand in some form or fashion wanted to help, and now the shot is off. Then you've got to ask yourself, do I have a good solid grip? Am I recovering in recoil? Because that sight dot needs to return onto the orange dot before you can fire the next shot. You can't outrun your sights, can you? Whether it's a red dot or it's a fixed sight, you can't outrun the sights. It's got to settle back down before you can press off the next trigger. So did the gun arrive where you needed it? Did the shot go where you wanted it? And then did your sights return so you could do follow-up shots? We cover all of that in the orange dot drill. Let's take a look at that. Now, I'm going to use my fixed-sighted gun for this demonstration because we found out that it works just as good with fixed sights as it does with red dot sights. I mean, again, did your sight arrive where you need it? So let's go here from the holster and take a look at it. I'm going to come up, I'm going to go out. If everything's going well, my front sight should arrive right on that dot.
I should be able to press the trigger and it goes right into the dot, and then I should be able to recover and recoil for another shot to go into that dot. And if it doesn't, why not? So let's start out kind of nice and easy in the beginning. Right above it. You see that? A little bit high. Now some of you are going to be saying, well, Dave, that ain't no big deal. But it is a big deal. It's a miss. If the shot does not go where you intended it, then it's a miss. Even though it's a small target, it's still a miss. So what I do is I pay a penalty. I take the walk of shame, I walk up, I tape it, and then I go back and I do it again. All right, so all right, that's good. Now, I asked myself several questions. Did my front sight arrive? Yes, it did. Did I depress the trigger? Did it go where I wanted it? Yes, it did. Did my sight recover? Yes, it did. So what we should do now is we should do 2 shots. So far, so good. That's what we want. Now, what's the next thing we should obviously do? Let's go 3 shots. See how that works out. Oh, I lost that second one. And I could feel it. My finger came off the trigger, it slammed back down, pushed the muzzle off to the side. So let's fix that on the next one. A little bit off to the right. But I think you can see where this is going. This simple little drill with this simple little target can tell you an awful lot about your shooting. Am I delivering the gun where it needs to be? Am I placing the shot where it needs to go? And am I ready to do follow-up shots? The orange dot drill. A whole lot of stuff going on. Very simple, easy to do drill that can do just about anywhere. Now, before I forget, I do it at 5 yards. Why? Because at 5 yards on that 2-inch dot, the red dot on your MRDS just sits right in the middle of it with a little bit of target information around it. On a fixed sight gun, when I come up, it basically just covers that little orange dot. A little bit of target information, but it just about covers it. So I like the way it looks optically. Dave Spalding, Handgun Combatives. Thanks for checking in.